Today I'm going to recreate my Pomodoro timer that I use in my study streams. To be honest, it's just a practice for me so that I can improve my speaking skills and also see how I express my thoughts when coding. So yeah, let's start. And first things first, this is the Pomodoro timer that I'm going to recreate. First, we're going to do the text, and then later on we will add this progress bar in here at the bottom. Alright, so let's add a HTML in here. So what I'm going to use is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I'm going to put them all in one file so that I can add it in the OBS as the source. Alright. So first, I'm gonna start with the container. Let's call it widget container. Okay, and then let's add in the session counter. Let's give it an ID counter. So alright, so next the timer. And then the caption. Let's try to open that up in the browser. So as you can see, we already have it in here. So in order to give them a style, I'm going to add it inside the head. Okay, so for the widget container, let's give it a width of 100 px. And then I wanna make it flex so that I can center the items. But of course the direction should be flex direction. It should be flex direction. Should be column. Alright. So every time I create a UI, I always do border so that I know how it looks like. So I want to give it a border radius, let's say 10 px. Alright, and then of course the padding of 20 px. Okay, actually I prepared they call it a back shadow that I researched earlier. So let's copy that one and remove the border. And also I want to use a font size, font family, and it is okay. So to add a font family, we just need to choose this one, link column CSS, alright, and get the href with the URL so that I can use this font family. But that is for the timer, alright. Okay, to use this font family, just need to use this one. Alright. Now, so you can see, we changed the font style of the timer. Let me try to make it bigger so that you can see it. Okay, but I want it to be bigger, so let's make it bigger. And of course, as you can see, there's no space between these elements, so let's get that spacing by using gap. Alright. Okay, I wanna give that one let's add the icon in here. Alright, and also I want to make the font family for the other items element in the area. Alright, and then I want them to be big, a little bit bigger. Yeah, I want them to be a little bit bigger, or maybe let's just say 1.5 prime, something like that. And then make it bolder. Alright, so now the next thing that we need to do is, of course, update the content. We want to make this like a timer, so we have to add a script in here, our JavaScript. Alright, so first we're gonna need to get the DOM elements so that we can manipulate them. Okay, so counts, counter, let's start with the counter, documented, get element by ID, since we use the ID in here, so let's call that counter. Let's do the same with the other elements for the timer. then caption. Actually, for the caption we don't need to, but we need it later on, so let's just add it anyway. So now what we want to do is update this with the timer that we want. So for example, usually I use 50 minutes, so let's add in the Pomodoro timer. So let's make a comment in here, set timer. Let's set the timer and then set the counter. So these are the steps that we need you to, and then handle update, handle timer updates, or handle the timer. Okay, and then yeah, so we're gonna start with the counter, the timer. So first, what I did is gonna promo time. Okay, so our promo time here would be 15 minutes, right? And then so now I'm going to get this. Okay, I want to add a div in here so that we just have a distinction. Okay, to make sure that we are pertaining to the element. Okay, so timer, I'm gonna add in the content. Okay, so in here we're going to change the content, alright, to promo time, and then the 0. So as you can see, it's updated. Okay, so now next is the counter. So in here we need to define the total session. Usually this is the number of sets, the study sets that we're going to do. Let's make it 2, and then we have current session, so the current session that we're in. Okay, usually we start with 1, right? So now of course we have to assign that to the counter div. Alright, same here. It's gonna be the same with this one, but let's total session rip course we have to add the session in here. Okay. Now we will add a function, okay, to update our timer so that we can make it interactive. So in order to get the timer, we have to get the minutes and the seconds. Okay, so to get the minutes, we will need to get the total seconds. Okay, so our total seconds would be our Pomodoro time 50 minutes, because in every minute we have 60 seconds, so we just have to multiply that to 60. Alright, and then we will assign that to our minute. Okay, so our minute, to get the minute, we just have to multiply the total seconds to 60. Alright, but we have to get the whole number. Okay, method, and to get the whole number we can use method floor. So total session should be total seconds divided by 60. Alright, and since we have like single digit, let's say when we reach 10 seconds and the next is 8 minutes, so we want to add 0 in front of it. So to do that, we have to convert this to string so that we can apply the pod start. Alright, we can use the pod start method to add the 0 in front of the single digit. So as you can see, our max length here should be 2, and then if it's now 1, we just have to fill the string with 0, and since it's a start, we will fill in the 0 in front of the number. Okay, now going to do the seconds. Alright, so let's say minutes, it's gonna be the same, but we will, in order to get the seconds, we will get the remainder when we divide the total seconds to 60. Okay, so it's gonna be the same. The only thing difference is we just have to get the remainder. Okay, now after that, we update the timer. Alright, with minutes and seconds in here. And of course, we have to update the timer every second. So in order to do that, we will use set interval, right? And we call the update timer every we call this update timer every second, but first we have to check if total seconds is greater than 0. So if we just have to decrement it, okay? So now as you can see, we will now have the countdown in here. So every second our timer is updating. Alright. Okay, so now that we're done with it, I want to handle the session counter, okay? To do that, we just need to okay, so once we reach 0, we have to store the session that we completed in local storage, okay? But first we had to stop the counter, this the timer. So let's start this in a variable, okay, so that we can stop it, the timer. So we just have to clear the interval and copy this one. Alright. Yeah, every second. Okay, so yeah, we just have to stop the execution of this timer once we reach 0, okay? And then store the updated session to local storage, okay? call it local storage, and then set item. Let's call it current session as well. And create a updated current updated session counter. Let's call it session counter. To current session plus 1. Okay, because once we finish the session, we want to add 1, and that will be stored in our local storage. Okay, so to test things up, I forgot something in here. We have to convert it to okay. Now the next thing is we need to update this current session. So you need to check if we have we have the current session in the local storage, so we need to get it. Okay, so if there's none, it will return null. Alright, so if it is, then we just assign it with 1. Alright, so you can see in here, we can check in application. So we have nothing in here, right? So our current session should be 1. So let's check that one out to see if we are actually returning 1 in here. As you can see, we get 1 in here because we don't have any current session in our local storage. Alright, so to test this one, I will make it 5 seconds only. So let's make it 5. That's 30 seconds, so let's say 5. So as you can see in here, since we finished we set it to 5 seconds. Since we finished it, our current session now it's 2. Alright, so what I usually do is when I finish my study session, I switch my scene to a break session, so whenever I get back to my study session, it will refresh my HTML. So when we try to refresh it, this should update the session to 2. And let's say now, as you can see, we updated it to 2. So now we're done with it. And usually when As you can see in here, it's 21, so that shouldn't be the case. So since our local storage returns a string, we need to convert this one to a number. Let's use parse int. Okay. Oh, I shouldn't be. Let's restart it. Okay, let's just delete this one then. Clear. Okay. Yeah. So now we cleared it. Okay, so what I want to do next is whenever we finish all the sessions, I want to change this to, you know, done for the day, something like that. So let's do that. And of course I want to remove the key that we stored in here. So let's do that. So if okay. So we will check if updated session counter is greater than total sessions. Total sessions. I want to remove. Let's remove the key, the current session key in the local storage. Okay. So local storage shall remove item current session. Okay, should be this one. And of course, I want to update the content to done for that day. Let's add in a little emoji in here. Okay, and of course, if not, I just have to store the updated session. To set it. It shouldn't be the session counter, but I want this one to be updated. It should be caption div, not dot. Okay, so we already get this one. Alright, so we're done with that. Now we will add the progress bar at the bottom. Okay. Let's have the progress. And then in here the progress. Okay, so the wrapper in here would be the whole bar in here, and then the progress, this progress will be the percentages, the value, so that we can see that it's having a progress. So every time we decrement the time, we are having a progress until we reach the end. Alright, so for that one we will you'll set the width to 100% so that it will get the width of the parent. Alright, and the border, let's just say black. Alright, but I want the progress to be so initially the progress will be 0% because we are starting with 0, right? And then we set the height to 10px. Okay, and the background color share. Okay, we can see that there's no changes at all. So since we are using adding here, we need to use the hashtag. Alright, so our background color would be let's say green. It's the color that I use in my timer. Okay, now to do the progress, we have to so we just have to again get the element so that we can manipulate it. Progress. Progress div. Let's copy this one and okay. So now we get the progress. So every time we update the timer, we can calculate the progress. Alright. Okay, to get the progress comes progress. We need to we actually need to have a remaining seconds. Alright, so in here we will initiate our remaining seconds, of course, to the total seconds because that's where we start. And then, of course, now we have to update our total seconds in here to the remaining seconds because that's what we're updating every time, every second. And then to get the ball, to get the progress, we just have to yeah, so we just have to get we just have to get the actual seconds that we've already finished and then divide it by the total seconds. So we have to get total seconds, okay, minus the remaining seconds. So that's the actual seconds that we've already finished. And then divide it by so we have to divide it by the total seconds, alright, and then times 100 to get the percentage of it. And of course we have to assign that to our width and progress div style that width. Now you get the percentage. Of course we have to get that. So as you can see, we now get the progress in here. Yeah, so that's it. That's actually it. We're done with it. will update it to 50. So it's 4:50, 50 minutes Pomodoro. So if you want to update this one, let's say 350, yeah, something like that. Okay. Yeah, we're actually done with it. So yeah, that's how I implemented my Pomodoro timer. And now, yeah, I'm gonna finish this coding recording in here, and then I want to figure out how to use them as a URL instead of downloading them. But that's gonna be a future project for me. For now, it's gonna be this one for now. So I'm going to add in the break timer and in here so that you can also use it. Alright, thank you for watching this video. I had so much fun and it is tiring. I didn't expect it to be tiring, but I had so much fun. Until next time, bye.